Hello, my name is Andy, and I am the village idiot, and I'm armed with a car and a GoPro, and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. Welcome for the 66th and last time to the Nottinghamshire district of Bassetlaw, and I've left this one purposely well last because it is in between the unparished areas of Worksop and Retford, and it borders both. This one will tie together quite a lot of information we've talked about in previous Bassetlaw episodes, and at the end of it I get to meet some of you Bassetlaw locals who have supported me through this journey through the entire district. Welcome to Babworth. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Babworth is a village and civil parish in the Bassetlaw district of Nottinghamshire, about 1.5 miles west of Retford, but we're not starting this video there. Despite the parish's name, the main village here is actually Ranby, which is a further 1.5 miles down the road from Retford towards Worksop. That's where our main walk around is going to be, and we'll see where Babworth is later. According to the 2001 census, the parish had a population of 1,329, which rose to 1,687 at the 2011 census. Ranby is a small village next to the Chesterfield Canal and adjacent to the A1 on the A620, which bends south towards its junction with the A1 here. In the early 19th century, Babworth parish is described as containing the hamlets of Great and Little Morton, Morton Grange and Ranby, as well as nearly 6,000 acres of excellent forest land. Some of that forest is still very much here. We're very close to Clumber Park and the vast swathes of forested land that holds. In all, it's ideally situated as villages go, really, between two towns and next to a major UK road and a nationally recognised park. What more could you ask for from a village? Babworth parish is perhaps one of the most interesting historically, although Ranby itself doesn't have a lot of history to speak of. So for that reason, enjoy my walk around the village whilst I give you some general historical information about Babworth as a whole. The parish once contained Morton Hall, built for William Mason in the 1860s. His children included Agnes Mason, Harriet Mason and Arthur James Mason. It was demolished in 1946. The grounds of the hall contain a money stone commemorating a hoard found in 1802 containing 621 Roman copper and silver coins. The stone is now a listed structure. All three of the Mason children are notable for varying reasons. Agnes Mason was the founder of the Community of the Holy Family. Arthur James Mason was a clergyman and theologian, whilst Harriet Mason became a poor law inspector. Other notable people from this part of the world include William Gledden, a winner of the Military Medal in World War I. That Morrison's van is either lost or I'm being followed, it's one or the other. Ranby's most interesting piece of history comes in the form of its church, and we'll get a look at the current church of St Martin in the amenities section. Interestingly though, the oak altar of the current church came from the Mausoleum at West Markham, whilst the altar cross and candlesticks were from the house chapel at Morton Hall. It also has a portable silver font, which was a gift and had been used for many years at a church in Canada. In 1898, Ranby's original mission church was built on the Retford to Worksop Road. The site was given by William Walker of Morton, and the building itself was funded by the Masons of Morton Hall. It was known as the Iron Church or Tin Tabernacle, and it was capable of accommodating 150 people. As for Babworth village, that's got a lot to discuss when we eventually reach it. It's linked with some other places including Scrooby, Austerfield and Sturton-le-Steeple, and if you've watched those 3 episodes, you might already have an idea why. Now the A620, which runs between Ranby and Retford, is as straight as a die. If you look at it on the map, it is a dead straight road, and it's even called the Straight Mile. The average house in Ranby comes in at a value of £252,000. In Babworth, that value is around £393,000. Seeing as we're in the main population centre of Babworth here, this is where we'll talk demographics. 81.1% of Babworth's population identify as white British. That's one of the lowest figures ever seen on the channel. Babworth also sees a population density of 55.95, which is pretty high given this is one of Bassetlaw's biggest and most rural parishes. After all, it does cover 25.65 square kilometres. That population density and ethnic makeup doesn't tell us the whole story. Over 1,000 of the people who live here are all clustered into one particular area. That area is technically speaking also in Ranby, but you won't find it in the village. We'll see where it is in a short while. First, here's Ranby's amenities. Your main bus service in this part of Nottinghamshire comes in the form of the number 43 bus between Worksop and Retford. The Bus Times website does list another though, and that would be the N5, which runs from Ranby to Orkley, as it's a college bus to New College, Doncaster. Ranby has no post office, but it does have a standalone postbox. For other essential services, the village is reliant on Retford, which is the closest major civilization. So here is the Church of St Martin. This was erected in 1959, a short distance to the south of a former mission room. It was dedicated in February 1960 in a service led by the Bishop of Southall. In 1971, many of the worshippers lived outside the parish but chose to attend St Martin's because of the continued use of the Book of Common Prayer. Ranby's pub is the Checkers Inn, which reopened in 2016 following an extensive £250,000 refurbishment completed by the Pub People Company. The village hall was originally known as Ranby Club and was built in 1927 by Sir Albert Bingham as a sports and social club for use by the residents of Ranby and the surrounding area. You had to be a member and pay a fee, and over the next 30 years it provided facilities for snooker, darts, bowls and tennis. In 1963 it became a charity and was renamed Ranby Village Hall. Ranby is also known for its 2 schools, these being Ranby House School, which we'll get to in a moment, and this one, Ranby Primary School. Ranby House is actually 2 schools on one site, officially known as Worksop College and Ranby House Preparatory School, situated in 60 acres of outstanding countryside. At 11 years old, the majority of pupils transfer to Worksop College. The school is non-selective and caters for children of all abilities, including those with specific learning difficulties. Ranby sits on the route of the Chesterfield Canal, another village which does so. Put this one with all the others like Misterton, Hayton, Clarborough and Clayworth. However, this stretch of the canal has something really unique we can talk about in the form of a boat. You see, for quite a number of years, Ranby has played host to Seth Ellis. Seth Ellis is licensed to carry up to 12 passengers. Purpose-built in 2005, it has a galley for serving hot and cold drinks, a toilet and central heating, as well as large opening windows all around. You can charter the boat on a choice of routes, and it occasionally moves to other locations for weekend trips. This is where the boat is kept, usually at Checkers Wharf, so named thanks to it being right next to the Checkers Inn. Pretty neat stuff, don't you think? We can't overlook the A1 here. This runs right past Ranby along the western edge of Babworth's boundary with Worksop. This section of the A1 was built to bypass Retford in 1961. On the opposite side of the A1 and not within Babworth's boundaries is a small hamlet called Osberton, which might be a potential place for a future Beyond the Boundaries episode. I like this too. This is Ranby Oaks, planted in 1994 by the villagers. The people of this place certainly know how to keep it looking nice. And check out this milestone on the A620 between Ranby and Retford. This shows how close Retford and Worksop are to each other, 5 miles one way and 3 the other. Okay, so that brings the main walk around Ranby to a close. You might be wondering, with a population of over 1,000 people and looking at what I've shown you of Ranby, where do they all live? Because there certainly aren't 1,000 people that live in this small village. So where do they live? And where exactly is Babworth? Well, we're going to answer both questions as we head down the straight mile now towards Retford. Heading towards Retford, the trees don't stop abruptly. There are still lots of them flanking both sides of the road. There are more houses too. These all sit close to Ranby's biggest landmark, and it's one that's impossible to miss. Personally, I'd feel quite safe living here because this estate backs onto HM Prison Ranby, the only prison within Bassetlaw, as Rampton is classified as a secure hospital and is run by the NHS as such. Notice the name of this street, Pilgrim Close, a subtle nod to some of the history of the area. Stick around and you'll see what I mean shortly. Ranby Prison is located on the A620 between Ranby and Retford. It's had its fair share of updates over the last few years and houses an increasing number of inmates. It's a Category C men's prison and holds about 1,000 male prisoners, and this is the reason why Babworth's parish population looks so large and why it continues to rise. It also explains why most of the residents of Ranby don't live in the village. Ranby was converted in the early 1970s from its original use as a World War II British Army camp. Some of the army billet accommodation remains at the prison today, along with some purpose-built accommodation added to the complex in the 1980s, and 2 further wings were opened in 1996. 2 more wings of the prison were opened in 1998 and another in 2008, with capacity for an extra 60 prisoners. Accommodation at the prison is divided between 11 wings in total, each assigned a letter of the alphabet between A and K, with varying numbers of inmates from 40 up to 192 in each. The prison has, in the past, been criticised for its conditions. In 2002, a study by the Prison Reform Trust reported that vulnerable prisoners' safety in particular was being put at risk, especially at night. A 2007 inspection report from Her Majesty's Chief Inspector of Prisons raised concerns about security and drug use at Ranby Prison too. Now, of course, given the type of building I'm stood outside, I'm being very careful as to where I walk, because the last thing I want is for people to tell me that I'm in an area I shouldn't be. I'm safe on this road though, on the A620, I do know that. So I can see pretty much all of the prison on that side and on that side as well. On the plus side, HMP Ranby provides farms, gardens and workshop places to occupy inmates. Education at the prison is mainly focused on basic and key skills. Other facilities at the prison include a gym and a multi-faith chaplaincy. Notable former inmates include Michael Carroll, Luke McCormick and Martin Hall Adams. Next, we come to Botany Bay. You might think this slightly remote location might be the equivalent of being transported to Australia, but in fact the name derives from the nearby farm. Once more, we see the channel's favourite railway line, the East Coast Main Line, as it passes through this level crossing before entering Retford to the south. I've got quite a decent amount of time on my hands at the moment, so I'm going to wait and see if a train comes past. It'd be nice to get that in. Oh, haha, look at that! As I say that, it must have heard me. Right, there's a train coming. The railway line here at Botany Bay marks Babworth's northern boundary before it runs in a northwesterly direction over the fields. We continue down the road back towards Babworth, and as we do, we pass over the Chesterfield Canal again. This time, we're at bridge number 54, 3 bridges up from where we were in Ranby. I particularly like this bridge because it seemed different to some of the others we've seen before. It has a thinner top, that's the only way I can really describe it, but it's still unmistakably a canal bridge. Babworth has a junior football club called Babworth Rovers Football Club, and many of the players live in Retford and the neighbouring villages. Here's the pitch. Now we're a long way into this video and we still haven't technically seen Babworth. So where is it? The answer lies not too far away. Babworth itself is very small. Prior to the Norman conquest, Babworth is known to have belonged substantially to Earl Tosti and was part of the King's Manor of Bodmershell. Where we are here is a parkland which belongs to Babworth Hall, and we're crossing it via a public footpath. The hall was the seat of John Simpson and is pleasantly situated on an eminence. There used to be a lake at Babworth Hall. It no longer exists after having dried up in the 1960s. This has been put down to a change in the water table or tree roots breaking the clay lining underneath. The hall and its grounds remain in private ownership, but we can keep going along the path to Babworth Church. In the early 20th century, the rector here was Frank Wilberforce. He was the great-grandson of William Wilberforce, who led the campaign to abolish slavery. I spoke a little about him in the Wilberforce episode in the East Riding of Yorkshire. Babworth's parish church, All Saints, is quintessentially English, and it's surrounded by greenery. The church is around 900 years old. It's a small structure with a tower steeple and 3 old bells, to which were added 3 newly cast bells in the late 1950s. It has a clock, a nave, a chancel and a porch. Most of the building dates from the 15th century, with several 18th century memorials and 19th century stained glass by Charles E. McKemp. The chancel and sanctuary contain furniture by Robert Thompson. That's the very same Robert Thompson who's famous for his mice. See the Kirk Bramith episode of Doncaster to see what I'm talking about. Babworth is well known for its connection with the Pilgrim Fathers. Richard Clifton was parson here between 1586 and 1605 and lived at the then rectory, which is now Haygarth House. 2 of his friends were William Brewster and William Bradford. Both we've met previously in Scrooby and Austerfield respectively. The church contains many interesting items recalling the Pilgrim Fathers, including the chalice used by Richard Clifton for communion services. Bones were discovered in a vault under the north aisle in 1951. Among them was the chalice that Clifton had used, thought to have been hidden here to save it from being stolen or melted down during the English Civil War. Next to the church is Babworth Rectory. It's a private residence, nice building too, adding to the character of the area. Before we head back to the car for the last time, we pass one of the 2 crematoria in Babworth. This is Babworth Crematorium, the other being Barnby Moor. Alright, you need a picture bit now for Babworth, and here that comes for the very last time in the district of Bassetlaw. So this is a familiar spot. This is where I stood a few weeks ago to make an episode of the parish notice board, and this is where the Bassetlaw finale is going to be held. We'll wait and see how many people turn up. So this really is a bit of bonus footage of Retford town centre. After parking in Chapelgate car park, I wandered into the market square to meet some of the locals. On the way, I couldn't resist some shots of what Retford has to offer, like the main church here at St Swithin, which is located at Cannon Square. It's called Cannon Square because there's an actual cannon. It was captured from the Russians during the siege of Sevastopol at the end of the Crimean War in 1856. The cannon arrived in Retford in April 1858 by rail. It was given the name the Earl of Aberdeen and was officially unveiled on the 17th of February 1859 by Gunner Cole of the Royal Artillery. Retford acts as an important commercial centre for the local area, including all those villages we've seen. In 2013, Retford's town centre had an empty shop rate of only 9%, which is 5% less than the national average. It has a range of supermarkets too, as well as many independent shops and a market every Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Retford Market Square was refurbished recently at a cost of £1.5 million. Brewing was traditionally an important industry in Bassetlaw, with brewers such as Worksop and Retford Brewing Company. As such, Retford was an important hop market. This tradition has seen something of a revival recently, thanks to a number of microbreweries based in or near the town. The Grade 2 listed war memorial is in the form of an L and a cross, an octagonal structure of late Gothic design. It was unveiled by Sir Frederick Milner, the town's MP, in 1921. Well, not bad. We got, I think, 7 people. That's actually pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'm quite thrilled that people want to actually come here and join in this amazing project that I've got going. And this lot, thank you very much for turning up. Say hello, everybody. So we've got someone who's travelled from Doncaster in the middle here. That's Lee. We've got Alice here on the left, who's come from Mansfield. And on the right here, we've got, I forget your name, Sam. Sam, who's come from Gainsborough, lives in Lee. And that has been the parish of Babworth and the district of Bassetlaw. Stick around if you want to see some more in Nottinghamshire. Newark and Sherwood is of course on the go, and I have other places to get to visit within this fantastic county of England. But for now, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and this has been the parish of Babworth and the district of Bassetlaw and about. So everybody that attended the gathering received one of these posters. It's the completed map of Bassetlaw. It's basically the map you're used to seeing in every video, everywhere shaded in, and it looks quite good, doesn't it? Bassetlaw district is complete. Everybody got one of those, and they were signed too, and they also got one of these little rectangular stickers as well. It's the same design, just a bit smaller, and you could stick that somewhere, I suppose. There are some of these left. I had 20 of these printed and I had 10 of these printed, and only 3 of each went missing. So they're now up for sale. If you would like a poster and a sticker, I can do them together, including postage and packing, for £5. Please do let me know if you would like a signed poster and a sticker down there in the comments below. And also let me know if you think it's worth making them for all the other districts, including ones I've already completed. I couldn't leave it there. I opted to put the camera on the dashboard one last time and drive through Babworth, passing Ranby on the way back to the A1. This has been the best district to do so far for me personally. In fact, my own personal highlights include visiting Hodsocks Priory for the very first time, getting to see the gorgeous Chesterfield Canal on multiple occasions, and revisiting some of my old haunts from my childhood, like the Beckingham Institute. I feel very lucky too, thanks to the guys at Gamston Airport, to have been able to see some of this place from the sky. That I'll never forget. Foraging through earthworks at West Burton and then being mad enough to film Sturtonley Steeple in the driving rain just added to the fun. Even being pretty much chased out of East Drayton was something I'll remember for many years. If you ever get a chance to visit Tom Simpson's grave in Harworth, or William Brewster's house in Scrooby, or climb Beacon Hill in Gringley on the Hill, I say go for it. It's well worth doing. Even paying a £5 for a day out at Clumber Park should be on everyone's bucket list. But that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the district of Bassetlaw. We've seen some fabulous villages and been to no end of landmarks, some of which, even though I'm a local, I've never seen before. Above all, I've met some fabulous people in this part of the world. The people make the places what they are. I owe a big thank you to everyone who's helped me, even if it's just in a small way. I couldn't have done all of this without you. There's way more to see in Nottinghamshire too. Newark and Sherwood is well underway now, but as you know, Mansfield, Broxtowe, Gedling and Rushcliffe are all still to come. I wonder what else we'll discover in this fabulous county of the East Midlands. Stick around if you've enjoyed seeing Northern Nottinghamshire as much as I have.